What's up? I am Randy Winter with the Red Jumpsuit Apparatus. We're going to talk gear. These are my guitars. This is Rick James. This is Elvis. They are custom Schecter baritones. We've modified them and put baritone necks on them. Well, the pickups these are just Seymour Duncans. They're real hot and nice. You've got plenty of gas if you want it. I'm rhythm, so I don't really need too much. It's all about the tonality for me. I'm not dive bombing like Mr. Burke over there. Really, the baritone neck is what really makes these guitars special. Being in a lower tuning, a baritone neck allows you to keep tighter tension on the strings, so you're not constantly having to tune your guitar every 5 seconds. So for me, I could actually go 2 or 3 songs and not even really touch it unless I just hear something out. That's how awesome they are. I mean, you can travel 4 or 5 hours, pull it out of the case, and it's probably still in tune. The difference is because of the neck. It's longer. It's 28 inches versus 26 or 24 and a quarter. Those are normal standards. So that's the difference. Has more of a vintage look. I'm kind of more trying to stick with things that look a little bit more timeless. So, it looks like it's been around the block, which these have not necessarily been around the block, but they just have that look, like almost like the old Dano Electro style. So I'm into that. And those are baritones as well. That's pretty much what drew me into these models, and the fact that Schecter was willing to be exploring. That's one of the best things about Schecter is they literally will customize the thing from nut to bolt, head to toe, whatever you want. So when they picked us up, Josh and I, we were extremely stoked, and they're super generous, and we've got so many guitars from them, it's just not even funny. But, so we have an arsenal, but these are the babies that go out on the road. Then at home, I have an arsenal that we use in our studio for different albums and different types of songs and different parts. You might just use one guitar for just one section of a song even. Generally, the key of the guitar is actually what you would say drop C, which is standard D, drop down a full step on the top string. So they call it drop C typically. However, all the songs are in different keys, so they're transposed to different sections on the fretboard. We are endorsed with D'Addario. We've been with them for a while, so that's what we use. I love them. They've been great. I've never had a problem with them. Again, they're just very durable and strong. It's rare for me to break one unless I'm just feeling it and I'm abusing it. That's typically when I'll break it on accident. Josh, he's a lead player, so he's playing 12. So because it's a baritone, you need a thicker gauge string so it stays tight. You feel it, you can tell a difference. Normally on a shorter neck, it's a lot looser. This almost feels like you're playing on a standard. It's very tight for being so dropped. The first one that they sent me, they accidentally tuned it an entire octave lower. That's how much you can do with a baritone neck being that far. We had to send it back because it was only supposed to be a step lower. It was pretty wild. I was like so excited to get these brand new guitars, and it was like right before Christmas I pulled it out. I was like, holy crap, this is an entire octave low. I didn't even think you could do that. So you have basic volume, tone, and then these are for different sections. Like if you're playing in clean, I'll activate different ones, but I tend to have a little bit more chunkier sound, so I usually use the front two, but every once in a while I'll pop it back and forth. Right now it's actually on the back because Graham Goodbye is a heavy song, and that's the one we played last, so you want that beefcake, and it definitely has all that if you want it. Josh actually discovered a drop pedal that is a newer pedal that's a polyphony based, which is much better than the previous, which were pitch shifting. I'm an engineer, so in the studio you tend to use a lot of different tools, and sometimes you're shifting keys up and down, and studio-wise it's pretty common to do stuff like that. But live, I'd never actually had a hardware piece that was consistent to me to be worthy to be used. So he picked it up, and I heard him playing it, and it sounded very, very reliable and consistent in key. So then I picked one up and hammered it for like 3 hours straight, up and down, and just checked it out, recorded it, looked at it, checked the tuning, and it's very consistent. So that's what I've been using now. So now actually, instead of having to take all these different guitars, I just take these two. They're both in tune to the exact same key, and I drop to wherever I want to be. Okay, so as far as what I'm using live, a lot of people, they'll have an arsenal, a rack of things over the years, 10 plus years of touring. I've actually minimized to more just vintage, solid gear. So I'm the PV guy. They've treated us right. So I've been using the 6534 Plus for quite a while now, 5 years, and it's incredible. PV cab. And then this is my backup, Wagner. The Ubershaws are super gnarly, great distortion. It's not quite heavy, but it definitely has that vintage thick sound if you want it. So it's incredible backup head. Most people would use this as a primary head, but it is normally a boutique head, so you normally wouldn't even take it on the road. So that's kind of a luxury having that on the road with us. We also have a second that he has for backup as well. So with this particular head, being a rhythm guitarist, normally you'll have an effects pedal running through loop effects, and which enables you to use the head distortion and then also your effects. So you would enable your effects on or off. However, I don't do that. So it's very simple. It's clean or distortion. So I dial in the head, make sure the tone is great, I flip back, from clean or distortion. I'm not really a fan of using pedal distortion. There are some good processes out there, so I'm not against them. But live, I really like the vintage head distortion that comes out of the head. That's why it was made to do that. So that's a lot, what I do. And then as far as over here, again, there's not this extravagant pedal board. It's not necessary. Use the head distortion. So you have your good old Boss tuner. These guys are as reliable as it gets. Noise suppressor, so if the noise gets out of control, sometimes depending on the venue and the frequencies, you can engage this off or on. If you overdo this, you'll accidentally take the dynamics out, so you have to be careful with that. These are the drop pedals that are polyphony based. They're very accurate. So, like I said, in the past there was a lot of terrible models, and not necessarily by Digitech, but by other brands. And you can get away with maybe a step or two, but these are very, very reliable. You can even, as an engineer, I've already tested. I've recorded it, tested it, looked at it on a spectral analysis, and it is quite in tune. The entire thing is linear bass, and it drops semitones. So once it's locked in, it's locked in. So it works very well. If you're a lead player, it's still going to do great. So you have different modes. Something that if you want it to temporarily change, you can you'd have it like this. And then you step up or step down. It's that simple. This is just a basic PB cab, very reliable. It can take all the gas you give it. A lot of heads will start to vibrate out and just kind of lose it. And sometimes the arms are not so evenly distributed. You'll see the engineers as they're setting up the mics, trying to figure out which one's more accurate. That's not good. They should all be putting out the same voltage. So if you're having that problem, then you should seriously contemplate checking your wiring.